Welcome to the Boxing Talk Show.
Fair but firm.
With the Hall of Fame boxing referee.
I'm Joe Cortez.
And co-host John Zamel for all of Las Vegas.
Come on, guys. Let's touch them up. 3 fight. I'm Joe Cortez. Fair but firm.
Welcome to the Fair but Firm Show here with Joe Cortez and John Zimmel here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world, and of course, you guys know the boxing capital of the world. Well, John, before the year wraps up, we have a couple of good fights.
Oh my God,
in the lineup, you know, and I think that the fans are going to really get something good. I think we're looking more at the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight.
That's the headline fight, but there's so many other ones getting caught up in the mix. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later in the show, just to go over just how much December has to offer us, because it's just crazy what we got going on the rest of this minute.
Before we start, I just want to say to our fans out there that I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, because this special year is something that to be remembered. There's so many tragic things that happen throughout the world, and of course a lot of good things with the sport of boxing, but we take our hats off and prayers to for your loss this past year. And of course, my heart goes out to everybody out there. We want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and holidays coming up soon, so I'm wishing you all the very best. We have so many sad things that happen throughout the year, and I hope that next year, 2019, will be a much better year for all of us.
Well, you know, I hope so too. It's not too bad. And Thanksgiving, for those of us around the world who don't understand, aren't familiar with the tradition, is where we in America, we gather around a table with our family, we eat the same foods every year for some reason, and we discuss what it is that we're thankful for. And we really make sure to show gratitude for the blessings that we've been bestowed upon and things that we have. And I'm going to do a little segment a little later for the 5 things in boxing that I'm most thankful for. But first, I think we should discuss this weekend's fights. There wasn't a lot of action. We had Salcedo versus Hooker on Friday. That was actually a really good fight. We saw Hooker get knocked down in the second, come back and finish Salcedo in the 7th.
Right.
Able to retain his belt, which is good for him.
You know, talking about that fight.
Good.
Salcedo was a young up-and-coming fighter, undefeated. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes they put him up against a tough opponent. I remember the Jaime Munguia, the welterweight from Mexico, Tijuana, Mexico, who came in to fight Saddam Ali in Madison Square Garden. Mm-hmm. He was rejected here by the Nebraska Athletic Commission to fight Triple G when Canelo got suspended for the drug suspension, clenbuterol. Anyway, the thing is that they took a shot to put him in against Saddam Ali in New York, and he lucked out because he ended up knocking out Saddam Ali. Now what happens is that sometimes you take a shot, you think you have an opportunity to win a title, and that's what happened with Salcedo, Alex Salcedo, with Mauricio Hooker. But Hooker is you can see, was a little bit more.
He's certainly more polished. He's a better fighter.
He's a more seasoned fighter. I think they rushed Alex a little bit too soon, but doesn't mean that his career is over.
That's a good point.
It was just a learning process.
Exactly.
Just like Canelo when he fought Mayweather.
Exactly.
He lost, but he learned a lot.
And also like Canelo when he fought Triple G the first time, it felt like he went really hard in the beginning and kind of gassed out. He kind of, I think the longer you are a fighter, the more seasoned you get, the more you start to learn how to keep some reserves in your tank. And I think that's an important thing. Because as many times as you see a Jaime Munguia or Isaac Dogboe, at the same time you get a lot of other situations like a Canelo or like a Salcedo where they're maybe not ready like we thought they were. But and that's okay. It doesn't mean, like you said, the career's over.
Yeah, so in boxing, I've been around boxing quite a bit, a number of years.
You sure have.
And I can talk with experience. I'm not just talking because I want to talk. I'm talking with experience.
Yeah, that's my job.
And as a boxing analyst that I am, I can tell you that we try to educate you guys on the show with reference to fighters, up-and-coming fights. I'm not right all the time. I thought that Alex Salcedo was going to be Hooker. That's what I thought.
His time, yeah.
I thought it was time, but you know what? You're like Manny Pacquiao. He's still around. Floyd Mayweather. They're talking about Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but we'll go into that in a minute.
Good.
But the thing is that you fans got to understand that sometimes, you have guys come into boxing, just start learning boxing. People just come in, they read about boxing. When you talk about experience, not only being a fighter like myself, but also all those 35 years that I spent in the ring with the greatest champions of all time, constantly refereeing these fights. I learned a lot from these fighters, watching them. And if you want to watch a good, skillful fighter, and you say, well, I don't really know what to look for. I could go there for 1 round, 2 rounds, and look at a guy sparring. I can more or less tell if this guy has it or not. But then again, the other night you had Soto Carras, who fought this kid Macias from Mexico. They were fighting each other. They threw over 3,000 punches.
That's insane.
2 weeks ago.
That's insane.
On a Friday night fight on ESPN. And let me tell you one thing. This kid came out there. They call him the Rooster, Macias. He came out there. He was throwing punches from the beginning of the first round. He got punches. I said, he's going to punch himself out.
Punches and bunches.
It reminded me of George Foreman when he fought Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
You know, he was after Ali, was chasing Ali, had Ali against the ropes. Muhammad Ali did the rope-a-dope, and what happened was Foreman punched himself out. You know, you can't go out there, and George Foreman learned after that experience. You don't punch yourself out. You can't knock a man out. Then what happened? And what happened with that fight with Salcedo, with Macias, with Soto Carras? Carras ended up winning a decision. It was a majority decision because Caiz called it a draw, but the other 2 judges saw where Soto Carras came on the last 4 rounds and took to the last 4 rounds, even though he was against the ropes, but he was landing the harder punches, and it was a great fight. I was impressed with the condition, but condition is very important.
It is very important, undeniably very important, man.
Go ahead.
And I also was just going to say the only other fight we saw this weekend of note was we saw Jarrell Big Baby Miller knock out his opponent. I don't remember his name. It's Dooney. In 4 rounds. Did he impress you with this performance? Did it show you that maybe he's ready to take on Anthony Joshua?
No, absolutely not. Baby Miller is still a baby, as far as I'm concerned.
He's a big baby, though.
Yeah, but he's a big baby.
315 pounds.
Yeah, 315 pounds. But, you know, he looks sluggish.
He did.
You know, he had no speed. And that's what happens when you go up to that weight level. I mean, you can't be fighting at your peak when you got a fighter who's 215, 220, 225, like Anthony Joshua.
Or, Deontay Wilder. Or even Usyk if he moved up. I mean, you see guys like that.
I mean, you got to be in good condition. I mean, you can't be in condition if you're 350 pounds.
No, I agree with you. I think Luis Ortiz, Tyson Fury, any of the top heavyweights would demolish him. I think his problems are more than just his size. I think his boxing ability is just moving straight forward. He throws the same punch combinations. He's not he's got no mobility, of course, because he's 315 pounds. And, he's just going to be a stat patter. He'll be a resume patter, and there's nothing wrong with that. But,
yeah, I think
the boxing world needs him. But
I think what he got to do is get himself a nutritionist on board, a part of his team, and to eat a little bit more, more careful and keen and bring his weight down to
less of that English meat, more of that Mexican meat.
If he can come down to about 250, maybe you'll see his skills will improve a little bit.
Something big happened today. We had the press conference today.
Yeah.
We got Pacquiao and Broner fight officially announced. Was it January 19th?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight because, Broner and Pacquiao are going to be... Pacquiao, he's late in his late 30s, 38, 39 years of age. But they're still talking about, maybe there's rumors going on, if he beats Broner, which most likely he will. Well, Broner's another guy that's had some issues.
Well, yeah.
And if he beats Broner, they say then Mayweather's going to come back onto the scene. There's rumors about him coming back and fighting sometime next year. Mayweather and Pacquiao.
You want the truth? We talk about it all the time. We talk about Mayweather once. He hasn't fought in a year and a half. We still talk about him every week almost, it seems like. And because you have to, because he's the biggest name in the sport and you have to. But at the same time, the thing about it is this one feels real. It feels real because Pacquiao coming off a win against Broner, who's also a fan favorite, against Mayweather seems like another $100 million payday. And I don't know about you, but I don't think he's going to pass up another $100 million payday. I don't think either one of them will.
I'll tell you, I think I'm coming back myself.
I think you should come back.
I mean, in the ring as a fighter.
I know what you mean, yeah.
I mean, I can make it.
You might be able to.
Maybe 147.
Why not? You think
maybe 160.
Fight Canelo next. Yeah, De La Hoya will let you fight him.
Hey, guys, you know what? I got out early. You know what? I still got all my marbles.
Yeah, you do. You do got all your marbles. This fight's interesting to me because these are two guys who are both at kind of an impasse. You look at Adrian Broner, who is honestly, when I say a fan favorite, I mean he sells fights. He's like the opposite of a fan favorite. Nobody likes Adrian Broner. But people pay to watch him lose. It's the Floyd method. It's worked for years. And so it's one of those things that just kind of works. Although his last 2 fights, he's 0-1-1. He had a draw against Jesse Vargas, as we know.
Yes.
And then he lost a fight before that to a name that I'm blanking, but doesn't matter right now. Whereas Manny Pacquiao, his best days are all behind him. We know that. But he lost to Jeff Horn, then came back and fight very impressively against Lucas Matisse, who we don't really know much about and may very well not be very good. It's very possible that Lucas Matisse is terrible. So this is about as close to a 50-50 fight as I could possibly gauge, considering both of them I don't see at the top of the welterweight heap at all, but they both are on that second tier of welterweights, second to third tier of welterweights, one being one of the greatest to ever do it, the other one being someone who, like I said, is not very well liked by a lot of fans, but still manages to sell a ton of fights, and at the same time is a 4-weight world champion. Let's not disrespect Adrian Broner as far as his skill level goes. I mean, that's at the end of the day, this is a fight that is going to sell because you got two names that were guaranteed sell. This could very well sell more than Fury Wilder, even though hardcore boxing fans don't like it as much. But at the same time, this is a matchup that is the people's champ versus the people's, the people can't stand, and going head to head with each other. And both of them need this win to further their career. And at the same time, both of them don't really need it for legacy purposes. So you have a really interesting matchup that I'm actually more excited for than I was when it first got announced.
Exactly. Well, I think it's going to be interesting with these kind of fights that are taking place. And, of course, we got some other big fights coming up before the end of the year. I know we have Tyson Fury fighting Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And Keith Thurman fighting Joselito.
That'll be next year. That's January 22nd, or 26th. But that's still exciting.
Yeah, it's been announced recently. But
that's exciting, man. What do you expect to see from him?
Well, you got to... Keith Thurman is a fighter that's been one of the best, probably pound for pound, until he had those injuries.
When he got injured, he was the best welterweight in the world.
Yeah, but now, and then he was inactive for so many, couple of years already, man, 2.5 years, and he's coming back against a fighter that it should be an easy win for him, providing, and if he can't get by Joselito Lopez, then
it's over, right? Pack it in.
Then you got to pack it in.
I agree, 100%.
I mean, Joselito Lopez, has some experience. He's been around the block a little bit, but he's never been at the level of Keith Thurman.
No, and he's kind of a name. He fought some decent people. I think he fought Canelo in his rise, right? Yeah.
Which was my last fight.
I thought that was your. That's why I knew I heard that.
Yeah, that was the last fight I ever free Canelo over Joselito Lopez.
What weight was that at? 147?
That was 147.
147. Yeah, that was.
I take it back. 154. But anyway,
so he's going down.
Yeah. So anyway, the thing is that Joselito Lopez, you got to give him a chance to do something, give him a last shot. I think it's going to be a last hurrah for him because I think he's definitely going to be outclassed.
After your years of boxing, how close to? I mean, you don't know. Of course, you don't know. You haven't been in the training camp. You're not friends with Keith Thurman. But being what you've seen, he's still young, and his biggest advantages after he was amazing, but he was a freak athlete. His athleticism, was above and beyond what probably everybody else still in the welterweight division has to offer. What percentage do you think he'll be at coming back after 2 years of injuries?
Well, it's going to be like Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was out for 3 years.
Big question mark?
But the big difference is that Tyson Fury was on drugs,
and
alcohol.
gained 100, 200 pounds or whatever it was.
And mental depression, and he put on like 125 pounds.
That is different than an injury.
But now Keith Thurman has been keeping himself physically fit. He still will stay active, whether or not maybe sparring as much as he should have been sparring. But I'm sure he's still got a lot left in the tank. I think he should take another shot at it. He gets through Joselito Lopez, well then they'll have him lined up with something else with all these top welterweights.
Absolutely, because we have 3 of the welterweight champions right now are with PBC, and on Showtime, and that makes it even so exciting. It's too much fun.
Yeah, going to be that's a hot division for 2019 for sure.
Absolutely, man.
And I feel that
actually that brings me to my Thanksgiving segment, which I'm excited about. I want to talk about, and I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I am, because I want to discuss this. This is the one. I don't do very many segments out here, but being that it's Thanksgiving and I didn't have a hat. Normally I just do a hat.
But you have like a tan suit.
I went with tan.
That's maybe like a color.
That's what I did. That's what I went with.
Like color for turkey.
Did it look good? Yeah, kind of like that.
Well,
yeah.
So you're a turkey.
I'm a turkey.
You turkey.
That's a perfect example.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to take a few minutes here and I'm going to discuss the 5 things I'm thankful for in the boxing world today. The number 5 thing I'm thankful for is this year's December schedule. We touched on it, but I really want to go in deep for a second. On December 1st, the first day of the year, we have Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. returning to the ring against Alfredo Angulo. You have the return of Luis Ortiz, King Kong. You have Joe Joyce's first marquee fight event on an undercard of a big fight.
December 1st.
Yes, they're still on the same card. You have Jarrett Hurd defending his IBF and WBA junior middleweight title. You have then in the final event is of course Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, which is huge. That same night in Quebec, you have Adonis Stevenson defending his WBC light heavyweight title, which would be a fight we talk about on its own any other week. It's maybe the 5th best fight of the night on that one. Maybe, and that's a stretch. 1 week later, you have one of the number 1 pound-for-pound guys in the world, Vasily Lomachenko, against Jose Pedraza in an attempt to unify the WBA and WBO lightweight unification belts. A big deal, a nice unification, and probably very well could be the biggest matchup so far of Lomachenko's career. Then you have Isaac Dogboe, who we mentioned earlier, defending his WBO junior featherweight title on that undercard. Overseas, you got Kell Brook returning to the ring and Spike O'Sullivan returning to the ring that same night. And in Carson, California that same night, you have Cecilia Brækhus and Chocolatito Gonzalez coming back to the ring. Those are all really big names, all of them, on the same night, 1 week later. Then a week after that, you have a guy who's probably the biggest draw, and I say probably nicely. He is undeniably the biggest draw in boxing. He's the highest paid athlete in the world. Canelo Alvarez coming back in a higher weight division for Rocky Fielding's WBA super middleweight title. Then you have David Lemieux, Tevin Farmer, Saddam Ali, and Ryan Garcia all on that undercard. That's the 3rd weekend of December. And the 4th weekend of December, to close it out nicely, you have both Charlos defending their WBC belts against, on a co-headlining matchup. And overseas, you have Dillian White fighting Derek Chisora in a rematch. That's the fifth thing I'm thankful for. What do you think about that December schedule?
I think you should be thankful. I think all the fans out there should be thankful.
What a month.
What a month. And all great information that John just gave you. I mean, it's super, you know?
It's exciting, man.
So this is what I like, you turkey you.
Yeah. I love it, man. I couldn't be more excited, man.
But I tell you, you know what? Gobble, gobble. And
gobble.
It's a great job.
That's just number 5, because we're going to the 4th best thing I'm thankful for, and that's the Canelo Triple G rivalry.
Yeah.
It's kept boxing even more like, I hate this boxing's dead stuff. We talk about it all the time, but it's the fight that casual fans know about that other people don't. It's the fight your mom saw this year, the only one she saw this year, and the only one she saw last year. Canelo Triple G has been the biggest fight in boxing. It contributed to Canelo being the number 1 highest paid athlete in the world right now. And I think we're going to get a 3rd edition next year. And it's going to be a thing when we look back on this era in boxing, that'll be the rivalry that defines it. And it'll be the rivalry that defines both those all-time great careers.
Exactly. That's why talking about Canelo Alvarez, he signed a contract a couple of weeks ago for $365 million.
Yep.
I mean, that's big money, to give a fighter for like a nice 5
years.
5 year.
5 years. It's double what LeBron James makes.
Come on, and and they say boxing is dying. Hey, come on, guys.
Speaking of boxing is dying, that brings me up to the 3rd thing I'm most thankful for, and that's the welterweight division finally heating up. We talk about it every week. We think it's the most talented division in the sport, and there's a reason why we think that. But does it really matter if nobody's fighting each other? If we don't have any marquee matchups in that level? But now we're starting to. Keith Thurman's back. We just said it. The beginning of January. Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, they're talking a lot. Sean Porter, Errol Spence, talking a lot. You got Terrence Crawford, who's probably the number 1 pound-for-pound guy in the entire sport right now in that division. Chat, and saying Errol Spence's name, that's a new thing. Saying Keith Thurman's name, that's a new thing. And then you got Errol Spence saying he wants to fight Sean Porter and wants to fight Keith Thurman this year because they're both on the same cards. They're talking unification.
That's
you have
good.
4 big bad guys. What do you think about that welterweight division heating up finally? Finally him saying each other's names.
Well, like we said
you
before.
think 2019 we'll get it?
I think 2019 you're going to get a couple of good welterweight fights. And don't forget, you got Kell Brooks from Great Britain.
Oh, yeah.
Who defeated Sean Porter. I mean, Kell Brooks, like you guys don't know much about Sean Porter, but you have to think about when he's coming back again. So if he beat Sean Porter a couple of years back, he took his IBF championship away from Sean Porter. Well, that's another guy that we have been talking much about, but he's coming back into the mix in 2019. He'll be back in there again
many big
with the welterweight. But sometimes some of these fights, once they start eliminating each other, for the next 3 or 4 years, you're going to see all these guys fighting one another. But I remember back in the old days when there wasn't too much competition. Well, there was always in the middleweight. But I remember Sugar Ray Robinson, the great Sugar Ray, fighting Gene Fullmer 6 different occasions. I mean, come on. I mean, the fans want to see if.
How many times did he fight?
Gene Fullmer 6 times.
How many times did he fight? Reggie
Jake LaMotta. I'll take it back. He fought Jake LaMotta 6 times.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
he fought Gene Fullmer about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, still though. They used to fight each other a lot.
They were always fighting each other.
That's not a bad thing. Like we talked about with Triple G and Canelo. The more you get to know a guy, the more you get to fight him.
If they're competitive against one another, those
Who wouldn't want to watch that? Look at great trilogies.
Yeah, those are the great fights that fans want to see. Talking about trilogy, I remember refereeing Riddick Bowe against Evander Holyfield. They fought 3 times, and I had the honor. I mean, sometimes I got to pinch myself. I had the honor of refereeing the first one and the third one. I mean, it was unbelievable. As a matter of fact, I was watching over the weekend on YouTube, watching the first fight and the third fight. The second fight was the Fan Man. When the Fan Man came in,
the best,
and the parachute came in into the ring, and it was crazy. They had to stop the fight for 20
One of the
seconds.
craziest moments in boxing history.
Yeah, I mean, talking about one of the weirdest moments.
It was undeniably.
The guy came into the ring in a parachute with a fan on his back. Are you kidding me?
Why did he do that?
They beat the crap out of him when he landed at ringside at the fans. And then what happened was they held the contest up for 27 minutes. And what happened? The fighters got cold, they had to wait around, and Riddick Bowe, that was the only loss he ever had in his career.
Oh,
and I think it had to do a lot with where the judges, when they stopped that round. One of my ex-colleagues I love so much, Mills Lanes, referee Mills Lanes, had called time, and he was like shocked. He was like,
of course.
wow, what the heck is going on here? So the fighters had to stay in the neutral corners for 27 minutes until they started. The judges, who knows if the judges got mixed up with the time that they elapsed.
Yes, sir.
27 minutes.
27 minutes.
They're waiting. I said, that could take a lot for the scoring of the judges. You're going to either you gave it to Riddick Bowe or you gave it to Holyfield.
Absolutely. Which brings me to the second thing I'm most thankful for. And first I want to apologize to my British fans out there. During that schedule, I forgot to mention Carl Frampton versus Josh Warrington. They got mixed up in the middle of that, and I apologize because that's a marquee matchup as well. It's just so much going on that I was bound to miss one, and I want to thank the fans that pointed that out on Facebook. I really do. That's why we love that. We love your accessibility. My second thing that I'm most thankful for is the fact that we, for the first time in a very, very, very long time, and we can play it like it's not. It's a very long time. Have a marquee heavyweight matchup coming in 2 weeks right now. We have December 1st, Tyson Fury, the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, going back to John L. Sullivan against Deontay Wilder, the greatest American heavyweight since Mike Tyson. We have a huge marquee matchup that people want to see in the heavyweight division, and I'm very thankful for that. Don't you think it's a big deal?
No, I think it's a super big deal because I think that Tyson Fury it wants to show the world that he is back again. I take my hat off to him for getting back on track. And I know that the British fans out there want to see their man, show that he still has what it takes to be heavyweight champion. And Tyson Fury is going to probably give it all he has. And Deontay Wilder may be in for a big surprise. I mean, Deontay Wilder, I remember when he fought last year against Luis Ortiz, he almost got stopped in the 7th round. So, anything can happen in boxing.
Absolutely.
At least when you least expect a fighter to lose a fight, Tyson Fury comes in with all this ring mechanics. He's well prepared.
Mobility.
He has a lot, going in his favor as far as wanting to come back and be a fighter with determination. He's focused, and he wants to get his life back on track. And we got to, wish that he does. Hope, because we want to see boxing really mix it up a little bit. But the fans are looking for it. They want to see their man in Great Britain, Anthony Joshua, fight Deontay Wilder.
They do, more so than they even want to see him fight Fury, if we're being honest. British fans, they might be rooting against Wilder because they hate Wilder, but they want to see Wilder against Joshua just as much as we all do, and that's nothing against Fury. I love Fury, and I want to see him complete his journey in a lot of ways. I really do. At the same time, I think the biggest matchup to be made is still, even with Fury winning, is still Wilder. But then again, when Fury wins, I might not feel that way because we'll see a lot of susceptibility in that.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I get to my final thing that I'm most thankful for. The number one thing that I am most thankful for in the boxing world right now is the ability to talk to all of you. I'm thankful for you, Joe Cortez, for letting me join you on this journey. I'm thankful for my entire team, Delin Todaro, Jackie Nunez, Lino, Charlie Rocks. I'm thankful to everybody who's involved in this, and I'm thankful most of all to all of you back there that listen to it, because otherwise we wouldn't do it. There'd be no point. We'd just be talking to each other, which we also enjoy doing, but it's nowhere near as much fun as getting on this camera and knowing that we're talking to every one of you, and I could not be more thankful for all of you giving me the opportunity to do this. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Dan Hewitt from Great Britain. We want to say a shout out to Dan. Happy Thanksgiving for you guys out there, beautiful family, your wife and your son. And all our boxing fans out there, we want to really wish you the best. So we hope that we're giving you enough unboxing to keep you up to date with what's going on. And we wish you, the very best. But,
We always try to.
Yeah, we always try to do the best we can.
Yeah, we love you, Dan.
I'm trying to be informative as possible when it comes to boxing. But my thing is, what I bring to the table is my years of experience in boxing, talking to you about what I've been through boxing and what we try to generate to you, giving you information with styles on fighters, prediction on fighters, things that happen in boxing. I mean, some fighters get out there, and young fighters out there watching, listening, you want to be champions. You have to remember that if you want to make it to the top, you got to be focused. You got to have concentration. You want to do this job. You can't go out there and do it half-ass. You can't be 50% of giving it what you got. You got to give it 100%. Everything you do. And not only in boxing, guys, you fans out there watch anything you do in your life, whether it's your work as an engineer, doctor, teacher, you name it, whatever you do, don't give it 0.5%, 50%, give it 100%, because that's the only way you're going to make it. Because if you don't, once you want to climb up to the top, there's other people on the bottom going to try to stop you from getting to the top. So there's so many more down here than there is on the top. Yes, when you're at number one, it's kind of lonely up there because you're by yourself. But there's a lot of guys on the bottom who are going to try to knock you down so they can replace you. That's why you got to give it more effort. And believe in yourself. Don't think that it's the end of the world. If you think somebody's putting you down for whatever reason, they're abusing of you because they think that you're second class or you're not deserving, we're all equal. I believe we should all be treated alike. Nobody should be demanding so much of somebody in a bad way. Treat people with love, kindness, and give them the attention that they need. Because if you don't, you know what? Those people will be out of your life before you know it. So you have to always try to give it all you have, and let's all be together. Let's all be family. Boxing's a beautiful family, John.
I couldn't agree more, baby. You couldn't have said it any better myself. I got one more question for you.
Yes.
Creed 2 comes out tomorrow in theaters. What's your favorite boxing movie of all time?
Well, my favorite boxing movie of all time is Requiem for a Heavyweight.
Requiem for a Heavyweight.
Anthony Quinn.
Yeah?
It was back in the 60s.
I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah, check it out. And hear the sound of the speed bag?
Yeah.
That was me hitting the speed bag.
Really?
Yeah, in the movie.
And that's not the first movie you've been in. You were in Play It to the Bone and also Rocky Balboa, right?
Yeah, I was in the movies. But
He's in a few movies.
I mean, I could easily say a Rocky Balboa movie. No. You know what? Requiem for a Heavyweight is one of my favorites. But there's been so many great movies out there.
There have been.
But tomorrow, Creed's coming out.
The first one was good. Make sure you check out the second one.
Yeah, and you're going to see our colleagues, referees, Tony Weeks, Kenny Bayless, Robert Burt. They're all going to be in that movie.
Are they all in it?
I believe that's what I've been told.
That's
yeah.
exciting, man.
So,
Tony Weeks was in the first one, so I'm excited.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So it's going to be nice to see our local referees here in Nevada, the boxing capital of the world.
I couldn't be more excited, baby.
And see my colleagues that I worked with so many years.
Exactly. I'll be there.
And it's nice to see these guys get to on the big screen, you know. And one day I want to see your pretty face.
Well, I'd like to be there.
Yeah, and a pretty face to be in a movie.
Catch me in Creed 5. You catch me in the 5th one. Wait, which Rocky were you in? The 6th one?
Just Rocky Balboa. Yeah.
So that's the 6th one. I'll be in the 6th Creed.
So there you go.
This Creed 6. You go catch me.
You know, I remember Sylvester Stallone said, "Joe, I want you to help me make this movie look authentic. Authentic as possible." I said, "Okay, so what do you want me to do? I mean, you want me to get you real boxing people? That's what I can do. You want to look authentic? They get real boxing people."
That's what they do, man.
So you know what? So he said, "Yeah, please, if you can help me with that." I called Mark Ratter, executive director at the time. I said, "Mark, do me a favor. Can you give me a list of all the telephone numbers of the doctors, ring officials, and commissioners? Because I want to get you guys in the movie, including yourself, Mark." So I got 23 real boxing individuals into the movie to make the Rocky Balboa movie, the boxing scene, look authentic. I even brought Gaspar Ortega, the guy that got me started in boxing, because we need some commissioners. Commissioners here were not able to be at ringside for 5 days, 10 to 12 hours a day. But Gaspar Ortega, I said, "Gaspar, I'm going to bring you down to Vegas." "For what?" I said, "I'll put you in a movie, Rocky Balboa." He said, "Me in a movie?" I said, "Yes, Gaspar." Gaspar Ortega was one of the great ones. Never became champion, but he had 185 professional fights, fought 29 times in 1 year. I mean, Gaspar Ortega, he's still alive, lives up in Connecticut, New Haven, Connecticut. His son, Mike Ortega, is a referee. So I take off my hat to these guys. But yes, being in this movie was a great honor. But working with Sylvester Stallone, we made that movie look authentic. It was one of the best movies that...
And you guys were inducted into the Hall of Fame together, right?
Yeah,
Same class.
Yeah, we were inducted to Hall of Fame. Mike Tyson, Julio Cesar Chavez, Sylvester Stallone, Costa Zoo, Nacho Berenstein, and myself. A lot of fans got upset that Sylvester got inducted into the Hall of Fame. They said, he's an actor. How can he get into the Hall of Fame?
He was huge for boxing.
We have other fighters out there waiting on the line. I said, well, you know what? If he got into the Hall of Fame, maybe I could get an Oscar one day.
That's a good point.
Yeah, anyway, fans, listen.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Once again, fans, I want to just tell you thanks again for being watching the show again, and want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. We're looking forward to next week's show, and of course, Christmas is right around the corner, because right after the Thanksgiving Day parade in New York City, you know what's at the tail end of the parade? Santa Claus coming on the big sled.
Yeah.
So get ready for Christmas.
Exactly.
And I'm going to start my Christmas decoration for my grandchildren for sure next week, and wish you the very best. Remember, guys, keep your guards up at all times. And remember, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch them up.